This coming Thursday is National Make Your Bed Day. Yes, you heard me right, National Make Your Bed Day. The idea is simple. Start every day with a well-made bed. Why? Well, promoters believe that this small action creates a sense of order and accomplishment that can carry into the rest of your day. I love this because I'm somebody who makes my bed every day without fail, even though I live alone. It's how I was raised. So it's become a habit for me, a lifelong habit and one that I can't break. And I discovered that I'm not alone in this. William McRaven is a retired four-star Navy admiral. 10 years ago, he delivered a commencement address where he talked about the importance of making your bed. After he graduated from college, he went off for 6 weeks of training to become a Navy SEAL. And every day began with an inspection by the drill instructor of how he had made his bed. He didn't understand the importance at the time, but looking back, he figured out the purpose. Here's what he learned, and I quote, "Making your bed reinforces the fact that little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. If you want to change the world," he says, "start off by making your bed." Today we're beginning a new message series titled Small Matters. We're kicking off the fall by focusing our lives on what is most important, which is not the big things of this world, like doing more or having more stuff. In 2 weeks, we will hear Jesus say that when we are faithful in small matters, we grow in the ways of God and the values of His kingdom. It's in the small things we do every day, like the simple task of making our bed, that we get to choose to do the right thing. And today's gospel reading gets us started. So we heard that Jesus was traveling from town to town, preaching and teaching and healing. His ministry was attracting huge crowds of people who followed him everywhere he went. And one day he turned to that crowd and said this, "If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple." If Jesus' goal was to attract more followers and draw bigger crowds, this speech wasn't the best approach. I'm sure it confused people in the crowd and probably struck them as harsh or extreme. I can imagine them saying things like, "Jesus, I like your message about loving my neighbor, forgiving my enemy, so why are you telling me to hate my family?" The reason Jesus used this extreme language was to make the point that being a follower is a 24/7 commitment, requiring complete devotion. It can't be on again, off again, depending on one's mood or schedule. As if his message on family wasn't extreme enough, he went on to say that his followers need to renounce their possessions. Most of those in the crowd weren't willing to make this commitment. Eventually, they drifted away and returned home. So those who remained with Jesus were the ones who had their priorities in order. They were willing to put God first above everything else. Throughout my 40 years as a priest, I've presided over hundreds of funerals, which means I've heard lots of eulogies by family members of the deceased. The best ones didn't focus on their loved ones' accomplishments, didn't highlight their career or brag about their possessions. Instead, they shared the attitudes that he or she had, the habits they practiced, and the values they embraced, how they always made time for family and friends, or how generous they were when someone was in need, how they always kept their word or followed through on commitments. Sadly, there have also been times when the opposite was true. This didn't come out in the eulogies, but in private conversations I had with family members. They confided how their loved ones' poor choices negatively impacted them, how they weren't dependable, didn't keep their word, or didn't make time for others. So at the end of the day, for good or bad, what people will remember about us won't be our worldly accomplishments. They'll remember these small matters and choices we made throughout our lives. With summer drawing to a close and the normal routine of life starting up again, now is the perfect time to take an honest look at your life and answer this question: how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want the people in your life to say, he spent too much time at work, she was never there when you needed her, they didn't make a difference in the world? Wouldn't we all rather hear it said of us, he was so generous, she was so loving, they taught me so much about what matters most in life? To jump back to last week's message on humility, here's what this kind of life looks like. God first, others second, me third. When God is first in your life, everything else falls into place, which was the point Jesus was making in today's gospel. If this message is really hitting home with you, I want to challenge you to make some small changes to help refocus your life. Small changes which over time can have a big impact. For example, get in the habit of always greeting your coworkers or classmates at the start of the day. Ask how they're doing before you begin your tasks. And in those conversations, always let the other person finish speaking before you respond. At home, get in the habit of tackling that one chore no one else wants to do. Empty the sink, unload the dishwasher, take out the trash, or walk the dog. Here's another small change you can make. Cut back on the time you spend on your devices. Notice I said cut back, not cut out. A small reduction of 10 minutes can have a big impact over time. And I guarantee you won't miss it, and you'll also feel better for having done it. Here's another one. Commit to weekly worship. If you got off track over the summer, decide today that you will be here each week. Last month, Pope Leo had this to say on why the Mass is so important. The Eucharist is not celebrated only at the altar, but also in daily life. He is reminding us that all of the small choices that make up our days are opportunities for us to share Christ with others. I began my message talking about the habit of making your bed every day. If, like me, you already do this, how about offering a simple prayer as you make your bed? Here's one I came up with. Dear Lord, thank you for waking me up. Please bless me and everyone I meet today. Smooth out any hard feelings or conversations which I encounter. Straighten any obstacles that keep me from seeing you and others. Help me to be warm and comforting with all those in need. Amen. With this simple prayer, you're asking God to bless you and others throughout your day. decide this fall that you will be faithful in small matters so that you can grow in the ways of God and the values of Christ's kingdom. Amen.